What's up, yo? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And of course, today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the midterm elections and the results, the ups, the downs. But I'm also going to be talking about the very much infamous race between Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams. And yes, guys, as of today, it is official that Stacey Abrams has lost the governorship race against Brian Kemp. Now, obviously, we cannot. Now, look, I'm going to address the whole Trump factor, but first, let's address the race in regards to Stacey Abrams, okay? You cannot address her laws. You cannot talk about the race without addressing black men, right? Stacey Abrams, I think, ran last time, right, against Brian Kemp, right? And she lost. And essentially, the whole, now she said it was voter suppression, voter fraud. Now, that's half and half. Yeah, part of it probably was voter suppression, but also part of it was the fact that a lot of black voters didn't come out and vote. So for the past couple of years, Stacey Abrams has been going around, camp. She has been having this entire movement to get black folks registered in Georgia, registering black men, registering black women. I'm like, you could actually make the argument that because she got so many black Americans registered, that paved the way for essentially Raphael Warnock to come with that upset victory in order for him to become senator, right? So in other words, she's been laying the groundwork to essentially take another bite, right? So she runs again, right? And let's be honest here. Her entire campaign is nothing more than her entire campaign is literally just girl power and LGBT. That's like if you want me to describe like Stacey Abrams' campaign is girl power, intersectionality, and LGBT, right? And damn you if you are a man, especially a black man. Now, at first, right, Brian Kemp was, of course, looking pretty good because, of course, he's in a Republican state, in a white conservative state, right? And, Stacey Abrams was trying to close that gap. But as the election went forward, people started to ring the bell about, hey, Stacey, black men are starting to drop off. Now, here's the thing, guys, look, okay? In the actual election outlook, right, I think only about 10 to 14% of black men actually voted Republican. That's not a lot. But what you guys need to understand is this. Because of how tight these races are, when you were dealing with major races, right, and especially races that are really tight, just the slightest 5, 6, 7% can make a difference. So even though it was just 14%, she needed even though it was just 10 to 14% that voted for Trump, I'm sorry, that voted for Brian Kemp, Stacey Abrams needed an overwhelmingly support from black men in order to have a chance. So just the fact she lost a percentage of black men essentially allowed her to lose, right? And Brian Kemp didn't just win; he won 51%. So he won enough to not have a runoff, right? A runoff election. But here's what's so crazy about this, okay? You now have Stacey Abrams, Democratic Party, all these other groups now blaming black men, saying, "Oh, see, black men are the white men of the black community. Black men this, black men that, black." Okay, fine. Okay. I'll take the blame. Okay, this election, black men slapped Stacey Abrams. They did, right? to sort of answer the title of this video. Yes, black men just slapped Stacey Abrams because here's the thing. Okay. For such a long time, I will say, see, men in general think on the community basis. They think on the group basis. So when black men talk about black people, right, they talk about both men and women, right? It's always a community thing, right? But when black women talk about black people, it's only black females. And so for a very long time, dudes have been operating, voting, going out here on the basis that, hey, when folks say black people, they mean black men and black women. But I think Stacey Abrams made it so clear that when she said black folks, she just meant black female, that it it turned a lot of folks. Now, here's the thing. Despite all of this, right, she was still able to get 80% of black men to vote for her. That's huge. She was still, but see, the problem is that because of how the elections are, right, you need at least 90% of the black vote on both sides to really have a chance. So if you have just a percentage drop, a couple of drops of percentage of black men, that can ruin your chances, right? And I remember when Stacey did her constituency speech, she had her and all these black females sitting behind, and I'm like, man, this is it's just a whole matriarchy. It's like a whole matriarchy, bro. It's just what dude will vote for this? But one thing I will say is this, right? If Stacey Abrams was a black man, it would be different, right? Because one thing I've heard from Mike V and other kind of progressive brothers is that a lot of guys who essentially demand all this stuff from Stacey Abrams, quote unquote, if it's the other side, they don't care. It's essentially, why do you guys have all this smoke for black Democrats, even though you know that white conservatives don't give you anything? Mike V, I get that point, right? And those who make that point, I understand that, right? And I also kind of agree with the point that if Stacey Abrams was a black man, a lot of dudes would not be having this conversation. I'm like, when Barack Obama was president, Barack Obama, he wasn't really tailoring things specifically to black men. And that the first time he tried, when he did My Brother's Keeper, that shit was shut down. So I do agree that typically if it's a black man in front, dudes, I think now guys are much more. So I do agree that a lot of black men are much more willing to ignore, tangibles, especially if it's a physical black male representative, and that's true. I agree with that. But by the end of the day, I feel like that's even starting to change too, and I feel this Stacey Abrams is very important because why? For such a long time, black women have been able to get positions, been catered to in the Democratic Party based on this, idea, essentially, that black women could deliver the black vote. That's the reason why it was, look, if we just empower black females, give them goodies, give them they want to, they'll deliver both black men and black women to the polls. But this is starting to show that no, they can't do that anymore, right? You're going to have to appeal to black men independently. And I think what this is going to start happening is that a lot of Republicans, a lot of other groups are going to start catering to black men more because this idea of what Nameless calls the flat blackness is no longer applying, right? What are you giving specifically for black men to vote for you? And I think that I truly believe that black women have way more to lose from this compared to black men. And the reason is because black men have never really been catered to in any serious way in the Democratic Party. They're not catered to at all. In my view, right, when it comes to Republicans, it's nothing. It's not even at the table, right? But Democrats, at least, if you're voting 80% for a party, you would expect more. So, with that being said, man, look, what I'm going to say is that when it comes to Stacey Abrams, she got slapped. Now, look, when Raphael Warnock, he was able to hold on, right? So right now, he's going to go off to a runoff election with Herschel Walker. And, bruh, man, look, if Herschel Walker wins in Georgia, I will be so... Brothers, look, y'all, I know how y'all feel, but no. I cannot let Herschel Walker be the face of black men. I just can't. But, yeah, so it looks like Raphael Warnock is going to hold on and that he's going to move forward. But at the end of the day, man, look, regardless of how that election turns out, the black manosphere and essentially, the quote-unquote black male media proved to be effective. I'm like, let's keep it real. The fact that you have Tiffany Cross and essentially and Stacey Abrams talking about Kevin Samuels and Tariq Nasheed, I'm like, you even have Roland Martin talking about Kevin Samuels. But what this shows me is that we, I think, have underestimated the power of the media platforms. A lot of these black male media, groups, black male media channels, it looks like we have way more influence than we thought, to a point at which we're able to affect an entire election. So I feel like, this should motivate us and I think motivate us to keep trying, and I just kind of my opinion on it. But anyway, guys, you guys tell me in the chat what you guys think about the election. Did you support Stacey? Were you against Stacey? Let me know in the chat because I want to see what y'all think about this. But in my opinion, look, like the title says, it is obvious to me that black men just slapped Stacey Abrams, right? And yeah, but hopefully Raphael Warnock wins. But that being said, y'all, make sure to subscribe, hammer out.